The cold fluorescent lights of the private hospital hallway flickered as if they, too, sensed danger in the air. Sarah's hands trembled as she steadied herself against the wall, her 8-month pregnant belly tightening with fear instead of contractions. She had come looking for her husband, hoping to convince him to attend their final prenatal appointment, but what she saw through the crack of his office door shattered whatever hope she had left. Her millionaire husband, Adrian Hale, polished, handsome, charming, was leaning over documents with the hospital's insurance liaison. His voice was low, confident, rehearsed. And then Sarah saw it. Her name at the top of a life insurance form. Her husband's signature. In the beneficiary section. It wasn't her. It wasn't their unborn child. It was the name of a woman she had suspected for years but could never prove, his mistress, Juliana. In one horrifying instant, Sarah understood the truth. Adrian wasn't preparing for their baby's future, he was preparing for her death. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and justice always finding its way, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness. Your support truly helps these powerful stories reach more hearts. Sarah felt the world spin as she backed away from the door, careful not to make a sound. Every memory of the past 5 years flashed before her eyes, the way Adrian's touch had grown colder, the nights he claimed to be traveling for work, the sudden change in his tone when he learned she was pregnant. She thought it was stress. She thought it was fear. She never imagined it was calculation. As she staggered toward the elevator, her mind replayed that paper, that signature, that betrayal. She wasn't just unloved. She was unwanted, disposable, a liability in the way of a life he wanted to start with someone else. The first person Sarah thought to call was her doctor, Mason, the gentle man who had delivered difficult truths to many mothers over the years. He had always treated her with a softness that made her feel safe. When she told him what she saw, he didn't dismiss it, didn't say she was imagining things. Instead, his voice became firm, steady, protective. He told her to come to his office immediately. When she arrived, he closed the door behind her, lowered his voice, and confessed something he had kept quiet for weeks. Adrian had instructed the hospital to restrict Sarah's access to her own medical records. Something no loving husband would ever do. Sarah's heart cracked further when Dr. Mason revealed that a private investigator, an old friend of his and a former FBI agent, had been quietly looking into suspicious activity linked to Adrian's accounts. Huge withdrawals, offshore transfers, payments to an unknown woman, meetings in abandoned warehouses around the city. Pieces Sarah had never thought to connect formed a dark, terrifying puzzle, one whose picture was becoming clearer by the minute. The next days were a blur of fear and survival. Sarah hid at a safe house arranged by the investigator, while Adrian texted her repeatedly, pretending to worry, pretending to love, pretending he didn't plan to make her disappear before their baby arrived. She cried silently into her pillow at night, wondering how long she had been living with a man who didn't see her as a wife but as a walking payout. Her unborn daughter kicked inside her, unaware of the danger surrounding them both. That small flutter, so innocent, so full of life, reminded Sarah she needed to fight, not just for herself, but for the tiny heartbeat depending entirely on her. Meanwhile, the investigator, Agent Cole Ramsey, worked day and night to uncover evidence. The deeper he dug, the darker the truth became. Adrian and his mistress Juliana had forged hospital papers. They had arranged a fake medical emergency scheduled around Sarah's due date. They planned to manipulate a complication, something that could be blamed on childbirth. A tragedy that would release millions to Juliana within days. They had nearly gotten away with it. But fate didn't stand with the greedy. It stood with the mother. The breakthrough came when Agent Ramsey obtained security footage from a private clinic Adrian had visited. It showed Adrian handing an envelope of money to a man later identified as a medical staff member with a criminal record. The plan was far bigger than insurance money. Adrian had debts, old, dangerous debts, and Sarah's death was his escape route. The FBI built their case quickly, their urgency fueled by the ticking clock of Sarah's pregnancy. Every minute mattered, every breath she took could be her last if Adrian found her. At 8.5 months pregnant, her body was tired, swollen, heavy, but her spirit grew sharper, stronger. She was determined not to let her daughter enter a world where her mother never came home. The final blow came 2 weeks later, on a stormy night that rattled every window in the safe house. Sarah's water broke unexpectedly. Panic surged through her as lightning cracked across the sky. Agent Ramsey rushed her to a secure medical wing guarded by federal officers. Meanwhile, across the city, agents surrounded Adrian's penthouse. When he opened the door to Juliana's laughter, thinking he had finally secured his future, 10 agents stormed in with guns drawn. Adrian froze, his world collapsing in an instant. He tried to run, he tried to lie, he tried to blame Juliana. But the evidence was overwhelming. They were handcuffed side by side, the perfect picture of greed undone by its own arrogance. Back inside the secure wing, Sarah screamed through contractions, gripping the sheets until her knuckles turned white. She had never felt so vulnerable yet so brave. Dr. Mason stayed by her side, whispering encouragement, promising her she was safe now. When she finally pushed her daughter into the world, the first thing Sarah did was weep, not out of pain, but relief. She held the tiny, warm, crying bundle to her chest and promised her daughter the world would never touch her with cruelty like this again. Her tears fell onto her baby's soft cheeks, baptizing her in the love of a mother who had survived everything to bring her here. In the weeks that followed, the story of her husband's arrest made headlines everywhere, exposing the dark reality behind the facade of wealth and romance. People called Sarah brave, resilient, inspiring. But she didn't see herself as a hero. She saw herself as a mother who simply refused to die, a woman who refused to let evil win. She moved into a small, peaceful home far from the city, Ware Drive. Mason and Agent Ramsey visited often, checking on her like family. Slowly, piece by piece, Sarah rebuilt her life. She learned to smile again, to breathe without fear, to welcome the sunrise without wondering if it would be her last. And one quiet morning, as she fed her daughter in the soft glow of dawn, she realized something powerful. Betrayal had broken her, but motherhood had rebuilt her stronger than she'd ever been. Her daughter was her new beginning, her proof that love wins even when the world tries to tear it apart. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Whispers of Kindness. Your engagement helps us continue bringing powerful, healing stories to you. Before we end, special request. Comment below. A mother's strength can move mountains.